The Triple M Grill Team.
Turn Gus, MG and Matty on 6 till 9 weekdays.
Yeah, big story over the weekend. The US soldier held captive in Afghanistan has been freed in exchange for 5 senior Taliban figures detained at Guantanamo Bay in a dramatic deal that was brokered by Qatar. Now, the US Army Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl was captured nearly 5 years ago and apparently was in good condition after the Taliban fighters handed him over.
Jeez, how could he be in good condition?
Oh, man, it's
after
amazing.
5 years.
Now, Paige, on the line, we've got a dear friend of the US Sergeant's. She must be so relieved, as is the family. Her name is Sue Martin. And Sue, welcome to the Grill Team.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sue, this is, what I suppose after 5 years, things would have appeared fairly grim for your friend, but, man, everyone must be relieved.
Everybody is tremendously relieved, and the jubilation is building as we process this event. It's a huge event.
Now, Sue, we keep hearing that the US and many other countries will not negotiate with terrorists. Did that surprise you when they actually came up with this deal?
Well, we've heard bits and pieces here and there about negotiations and failed attempts at negingations, and I think it's been a fairly consistent theme throughout Bowe's captivity that there were negotiations perhaps involving the release of some of the Taliban prisoners. I am certainly not a politician or involved in high-level diplomacy, but understanding this is a very delicate and complicated situation, I'm pretty convinced that someone knows what they're doing, and I'm very, very grateful that there was no violence or bloodshed during this transaction, as Bowe Bergdahl, Bowe's father, has reiterated throughout the years that he really hoped that we didn't have to shed any blood on behalf of his son.
Geez, his father. We saw him on the news standing with the President Barack Obama. He looked huge relief. We hear his father had to learn Farsi, the language of the captors, to.
Yes,
that's incredible.
He did. He took it upon himself to learn Pashto, and he knows several dialects of the various areas in northern Pakistan and Afghanistan, and I think this is a really unprecedented event where a family and a father and mother are so involved in the transaction, so to speak, and the communication with the captors and expressing their concern for their son through social media and hopefully relating and directly communicating with their son during this ordeal.
Amazing. The Taliban, they say 5 senior members of the Taliban. Do we know much more than that? And what has been the basic feel over in the US? Are people happy overall that you've given up 5 Taliban for 1 US citizen?
Well, I know here in Haley, Idaho, there's no other sentiment being expressed than absolute relief and happiness. I think this young man has been through enough already, and we're ready to embrace him as he comes home.
Hey, Sue, it's a great story, and look, we're relieved for you and particularly for the family, and thanks for joining us this morning, Sue.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The Grill Team. Gus, MG and Matty Johns. Triple M Breakfast.